You're watching Justice 45 KUVI, and I'm Vanessa Rodriguez. Today we have our guest, Robert Rodriguez, Officer of CHP. Hi, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We wanted to talk today a little bit about maintenance on our vehicles. The season's coming where there was going to be a lot of rain and fog. What recommendations could you give us for our vehicles and how to keep them safe?
Well, first and foremost, it doesn't pertain to the vehicle itself, but it pertains to the driver. We want you to slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down, and you'll probably hear that throughout because that first rain that we experience is always the most dangerous because all that oil that's just been sitting there on the surface kind of rises up, and so the roadway becomes that much more slippery. So slow down, increase your following distance while you're out there. As far as the vehicle, the maintenance on the vehicle, of course, we want you to maintain a good tires, a good tread on your tires. Also make sure that the pressure is also adequate for that vehicle.
Right.
Always follow the manufacturer. Your windshield wipers need to be replaced. Matter of fact, I just replaced my windshield wipers. And so I usually, here living in Bakersfield, because it's so hot during the summertime, it usually eats away at the rubber on the windshield wiper. So that's a really good idea to do that now before it starts raining.
Right.
Coolant is also very important. Make sure you have the adequate coolant levels in your vehicle. Your brakes are in good working order. Your lights. Those are just things that just a general maintenance that you should always have up to par on your vehicle.
Right. The lights are important, especially during the fog, I would say. I mean, it's hard to see the vehicle, so if your lights are not working, I mean, that could be a big problem too.
Oh, most definitely. We haven't really experienced a fog too bad in the last couple of years, but we may experience a little bit more fog this year only because of that rain that we experienced last year. So we may experience a little bit more, but we want to make sure that our lights are working properly and that we always use the low beams and not the high beams.
Okay, and then on the tires, the threads on the tires. What is like the rule of thumb? Like
rule of thumb, just I always recommend just getting a penny.
Okay.
You always hear that, get a penny, turn it upside down, and if you can see Abraham Lincoln's head, then you need to get new tires, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good idea to do that. That's just a good rule of thumb. There are tire wear bars on every tire, and so if you can see those tire wear bars, then it's a good idea to purchase some new tires.
Okay, thank you. And then the next question I had for you is, what would you say we can do when you do notice a distracted driver, moving in and out of lanes, whether it's from drinking and driving or maybe even from texting?
And sometimes if there's a motorist that's weaving in and out of traffic, maybe they're kind of in and out of or just within their lane, or just varying their speeds. It could be that they're distracted. It could be that they're under the influence. It could be that they're drowsy.
Yeah.
Right. So you never know. It's always a good idea to call 911 and then get us started. Make sure you know where you're at. The vehicle description, license plate, if you know the occupants inside. Some people will even drive up next to that person and they see them talking on the phone or texting. A lot of them they themselves will kind of point at them, But we don't want you yourself to become distracted while doing that. You can call 911 during a situation like that.
What do you guys do when somebody calls?
And somebody calls, if we're in that area, if we have an officer that's available, of course, we're going to respond to that area because that could be an emergency. Also, what people don't realize is that by you calling 911, now we ask for your phone number as well. So let's say you call 911. Now, a couple miles down the road, somebody else calls 911 on that same motorist. And then let's say that motorist ends up crashing. Now we have two witnesses that have put that driver that have seen that driver, witnessed that driver on their phone.
Right.
We had an incident, unfortunately, where a young lady, she had all her kids in the car with her, and she was driving down 58 on the eastbound side, coming down by General Beale into Bakersfield, and several witnesses saw her on her phone.
Wow.
She was driving at a high rate of speed, in and out of traffic, weaving. Unfortunately, she crashed, but because of those witnesses, we were able to determine that she was indeed distracted and on her phone at the time of the crash.
Wow. Yeah. That's sad. That's unfortunate. Yeah.
It is unfortunate.
So it is good to actually be able to contact and reach out to you guys to actually give you guys that insight.
Oh, most definitely.
Well, thank you so much, Robert. We appreciate this advice that you're giving us. And then also another question we have is, what time of the day typically do accidents occur?
Oh, wow. We investigate anywhere from 350 to 500 crashes a month. And this is the Bakersfield CHP office only. It doesn't include the other CHP areas throughout Kern County, and so a lot of crashes, right, during the day. During the day, it could be during a bright sunny day where you know, it's not raining, no clouds in the sky, and people are crashing.
Right.
But as far as like our fatality rates, most of those occur during the hours of darkness, and that includes during those early morning hours as well. So, you know, be extra vigilant when you're out and about, especially during those early morning hours when you're on your way to work and you're trying to get there. And a lot of people get caught up in the hustle and bustle, and they miss a stop sign.
Yeah.
They miss a red light, and so that could be a recipe for disaster.
What are some of the biggest problems that we have on our roads today?
We have a great many of them, but here in Kern County, some of the main ones are problems with distractions, also with DUI, and then pedestrians safety. That's a huge one. You know, we've had several pedestrians that have been struck inside a crosswalk and outside of a crosswalk. And so when a motorist comes up, especially during the hours of darkness, that's when most of our pedestrians are struck within our CHP jurisdiction. You know, it's just it's that much more important for motorists to pay extra attention, especially when driving in neighborhoods where you know that there's an increased amount of pedestrians that are in that area. Also issues with bicyclists too.
Oh, wow.
We see a lot of cyclists that are just not obeying the rules of the road, and so they're riding on the wrong side of the road. Maybe they're riding their bicycles in the hours of darkness, and so for motorists it just becomes that much more dangerous for them to see that person, especially when they don't have reflectors or a light.
Right, and always keep in mind that pedestrians do have the right of way, so we need to keep an eye around us while we're driving.
Well, yes, and you know, pedestrians, and this goes out to the pedestrians as well as make sure you utilize those crosswalks.
Right.
And cross where it's a well-lit area, and, you know, if you can, and if you're out in the hours of darkness, make sure that you wear a light clothes. You know, if you're out there, you're taking a walk, you're out for a stroll, carry a flashlight with you.
Right.
Wear reflectors on your clothing, just so that you can be more visible for those motorists.
Right. Good. Okay. Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate you for coming in your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. You're watching Justice 45 KUVI. Until then, be aware and be safe.